Hello, this is John Canelopoulos, clinical professor of ophthalmology at the Grossman Medical School, NYU, New York City, New York, and medical director here in Athens at the LaserVision Ambulatory Surgery Center. We had done in 2007, and now we're in 2024, an Artisan or Verisize lens, and we're involved in the U.S. in the FDA trials. I had placed those lenses back in 97, if I remember well, and I had the honor to train with Professor Wurst himself at Groningen, the Netherlands. So I'm going to try and retrieve this 6 millimeter diameter high myopia lens from the initial incision. And you're seeing here I'm doing a small conjunctival piridomy. I found the original wound. I'm going to use my crescent blade. I'm going to try and create a scleral groove, but I'm seeing here UVA. So one thing that I realize is that this patient is marfanoid and does not have enough sclera or strong enough sclera to do this. So change of plan, and this is very important, I think, for beginning surgeons to understand. You never pursue a plan that is starting to prove to you that is not the optimal plan. So we're backtracking to interrupt the tendon nylon sutures. We'll bury the knots. We're closing this initial attempt to remove the lens, and obviously the objective here would be not to make a large cornea incision because the diameter of this lens is the smallest diameter is 6 millimeters, and as you saw before, I put torque marks because the patient does have astigmatism in the meridian that we saw, which is against the rule, and I was planning on putting a T4 lens to convert this very high myopic patient with slight with the rule astigmatism. This is my goal always, to get half a diopter with the rule at the end of the day. But let's look what I'm going to do instead while I'm just taking my steps backwards and reversing my original plan. Very careful. It's important here to take your time. There's not a time to be sloppy or in a hurry. So we're starting the procedure from the beginning. So what I'm doing now is I'm repositioning my chair. I'm going in to do a crescent, a keratome 275 incision, viscode under and over the lens, and I'm coming in to free the lens from its inclination on that part of the iris, and then I'm going to use my inclination needle to free up the lens from the other side. Very careful to be atraumatic. Remember that back then we used to do iridectomies, and the patient has 2 of them. Now I'm marking the 6 millimeters diameter that I need to remove the lens, and I'm enlarging my shelved cornea incision. It needs a little bit more. Using my lens forceps, pulling out the Verisize or Artisan, as we call it in Europe, lens, and I'm going to use tendon nylon sutures to reoppose the shelved cornea wound. And this is the same wound I use for routine cataract surgery. One interrupted tendon nylon suture here, and I reposition my chair here and pretend that this is the 135 spot that's convenient for me to do the procedure. Viscoelastic again, the continuous curvilinear capsulorhexis, and I think Thomas Conan enough for his tremendous discovery. Never forget the day that I saw this as a resident. Lens is not that dense. Removed it very carefully. Remove the residual cortex. I'm going here with my left hand and my side, my split aspirator. I'm not going to use a toric lens now because all my toricity calculations are gone since I have a 6 millimeter clear cornea incision. So I'm putting in a spheric Acrosoft lens. And remember, I've used the cornea topography to position my 6 millimeter incision, and I'm going to use my incision in lieu of an astigmatic keratotomy. So this is the pearl in this procedure. I'm going to go in and do IA to remove the viscode under the lens as well, and the methylcellulose. Position the lens in the horizontal axis to reduce negative dysphotopsia, because the haptics of the lens will be at the point of negative dysphotopsia. Very careful, and I'm reforming the chamber before I tighten my suture because I need a certain level of traction from the sutures. 4 interrupted tendon nylon sutures, again reforming the chamber, trim the suture edges and bury them in the cornea, and thus now I have the ideal case, and I'm hoping that my incision will correct the astigmatism and I'll have the optimal refractive effect. This is John Kanellopoulos. I hope you found this case interesting. Signing off from Athens, Greece. Thanks so much for your attention.